So the intermission is over. We've had our week off. Honestly, feels like it's been forever since we've been in the courtroom. But bright and early tomorrow morning, we're going to get right back at it. So a lot of people are probably wondering, what should we be expecting to see when we come back on Monday? It's been a while, and we heard a lot over the break. All kinds of different commentary, suggestions about some of the witnesses that are going to be called. We heard Ellen Barkin's name mentioned. We heard that Johnny Depp is going to be recalled as part of Amber's case. But the important thing to remember is that Amber still has a long way to go before she gets to any other witnesses in her case. So I wanted to take a minute to just give you guys my thoughts about what I think we're likely to see on Monday and in the coming days. So first off, I'm just going to get right to it. I don't think there's any chance Amber is finishing her direct examination on Monday. I think if we go halfway through Tuesday, that's probably pretty fast. And the reason why is because there are so many things that she still has to cover that are really non-negotiables for her case. They aren't going to be situations that she can afford to just brush over or not touch upon. So awful lot of information still to come. When they left off, she was talking about the Bahamas in December 2015. There's two major incidents that have been the subject of the UK case and some of the evidence in this case already that she needs to give her version of. The first one is her birthday, April 21st, 2016 incident. This one is critically important because she's going to need to tell us that it was the dog that pooped in the bed, okay? Not that anybody believes it. Everybody knows the tiny dog did not produce the giant turd. But that's a very important fact for her. She can't stand to have it out in public that she shat on her husband's bed. So that's a story that remains to be told. It's likely she's going to also insist on going into Coachella. She left for Coachella the day after her birthday. And the reason why that's important to her is because Starling Jenkins testified he saw her throwing up in the parking lot. She was taking drugs and drinking and having a good old time partying at Coachella. And so for whatever reason, Amber Heard really can't handle that story being out there. It's critical for her to debunk that. Her Highness certainly would not be vomiting in Coachella. That was Whitney. So we know she's blamed it on Whitney in the past. They've already hinted at blaming it at Whitney in Starling Jenkins's testimony. So I expect that's going to be forthcoming as well. She's going to insist on telling us it was not her, it was Whitney who threw up in the parking lot at Coachella. We have the whole May 21st incident to get through. And this is an important one because this is the hoaxy one. This is the one that, of course, got the police called, triggered the TRO being filed, immediately preceded the divorce. So there's a lot that she needs to cover on this, specifically because her version of events has since been significantly called into question by the body cam video. So when Amber Heard testified in the UK, she had a story about Johnny Depp being drunk, of course, and angry and basically trashing the apartment and leaving with a large Magnum bottle of wine that he was splashing all over and using to break things as he left the apartment. So there was just wine and detritus everywhere, which she claims that the police officers saw, but of course there is no evidence of any kind of disarray at all on the body cam footage when the police showed up at 9:30-ish in the evening. So we're going to need to hear a cleanup story. We know that Amber Heard is going to have to try to say all the stuff was there when the first police officers came, Melissa Saines and Tyler Haddon, that they saw it but didn't report it because for whatever reason, I guess they had a dog in the marriage. I don't know, maybe they didn't want to do the paperwork for a DV investigation. But according to Amber, they saw everything, but then they cleaned it all up, somehow magically cleaned up wine stains all over the hallway carpet before the next set of officers got there approximately an hour later. So that's going to be very important because she has to preserve the hoax. If we go with the body cam, it can't be reconciled with her prior accounts. Obviously, something is wrong in that telling. She's going to need to try to fix it. The application for the TRO, the divorce, the donations, these are all details that she's going to need to go through. She's going to need to talk about the drafting of the op-ed. There's been an implication in her pleadings and in the litigation that happened pre-trial that she's going to try to use a defense of counsel defense. Basically, the argument is, well, I told my lawyer what I was doing and got advice from him and relied on that, so I shouldn't be held liable for the fact that my lawyer was wrong. And this is a valid defense in Virginia, probably other states as well. The problem with it is it does require a full and good faith disclosure of all the material facts that led to the attorney giving that opinion. And so basically, if you, I don't know, hypothetically hid details about the fact that you were the one who abused your husband and then hoaxed him with these fake accusations and a vanishing bruise, that's important information your attorney is going to want to know when he's advising you on if your op-ed calling him a wife beater is defamatory. So very high likelihood that defense is not going to succeed, and that if she calls her lawyer, her previous lawyer, Eric George, to the stand, I have to assume that that's not going to be real beneficial to her because he has been deposed. We know that Johnny has been able to inquire about the details of that representation, asserting the defense of counsel waives the attorney-client privilege for those communications. So we'll see if she backs away from that. But if she does intend to assert the defense of counsel defense, she's going to need to explain what she did in the course of drafting this op-ed in terms of getting legal advice on it. She's claimed that Johnny gave her PTSD. So we're going to need to hear about how did you find this out? What kind of symptoms were you having? How did you get diagnosed? What sort of treatment? How has this affected your life? This is related to the overall claim of damages that she needs to substantiate. She doesn't have to prove monetary damages. Just like Johnny, she is alleging defamation per se. And so the assumption is, hey, if you accuse somebody of committing a crime such as perjury, that's the type of accusation that is inherently damaging if you're knowingly calling somebody that and it isn't true. But she has claimed $100 million in her counterclaim. And, if there's one thing we can say about Amber, she doesn't hate money. So if she's going to try to get a specific damage award that she can substantiate for the jury, she's going to need to get into that as well. Talk about what her work history has been, how that changed over the course of time when she worked with Johnny. We did hear from Elaine that Johnny was supposedly very controlling over her career, didn't want her to work, nixed her doing romance scenes, which is not at all consistent with him taking a bit part in London Fields, which you don't want to watch. Just don't do it. It's terrible, but there's lots of nude scenes in that. And the other detail I remember Elaine mentioning that hasn't been cashed yet is the allegation that Johnny didn't give her the password to her own phone. Elaine mentions this in Australia in her opening in the context of the Australia incident, and it's because she's trying to blame Johnny for making the recording. We haven't heard all of it yet, but I do expect is likely to come in. At least substantially more of it will come in during Amber's cross-examination, if not sooner. So just a lot of those details that still really need to be covered and fleshed out if the jury is going to be able to evaluate all of these incidents that she's claimed happened, understand the context of the donations and the writing the op-ed, and then have some basis for putting a monetary figure should they decide that she's entitled to compensation for damage to her career. So then there's a few things that I'm going to be watching to see. I'm just curious to see how and if they're going to unfold when we get back into Amber's direct. There's a number of things that, in my opinion, Amber really needs to get out ahead of before her cross-examination comes. And the big one there is the audio recordings. Though those audios, they are so damaging. And she tried in the UK to explain them. Her fifth witness statement, if you go and look that up, is basically just a series of explanations of what she said and how she behaved on various recordings that were presented to the court in the UK. But to an objective viewer, the explanations are highly improbable. I mean, she's accusing Johnny of, not interacting appropriately, that she would have to placate him, that he would be so unreasonable and irrational that she would have to just tell him whatever he wanted to hear. Obviously, a clear projection on Amber's part, but also just certain instances that she's never satisfactorily explained about the audios. Why is she always accusing Johnny Depp of running away and not accusing him of beating her? Why is she admitting to committing physical violence against him? She has not so far been able to come up with a good accounting for why those audios depict what they depict. And so if she waits until cross-examination, she's a lot less likely to have an opportunity to give an explanation, because Camille, if she does her job right, is just going to put those audios in front of the jury and force Amber to admit that those are the things that she said in the actual context of her relationship with Johnny Depp. So really important for her to get out ahead of those audios, but I don't know if she's going to do it. I think she may be the type of person who just isn't going to deal with it until she absolutely has to. It's like, if it's not a problem right now, it's not a problem. So it'll be a problem on cross when it's not her choice for it to be a problem or not anymore. I'm really interested to see if she eases off on the hysterics. In this time that we've been away, there's been a massive amount of commentary about her performance on the stand. I'm sure it was her intention to leave for the break after having recounted this allegation of sexual assault in the Bahamas by Johnny, and that she probably thought, that's going to dominate the stories. That's what all the coverage is going to be about. That's what the jury is going to remember. But I don't think that's what happened. Certainly not in the commentary. What we saw was much more incredulity about Amber's performance. The overall impression is that it is not good. It is not authentic. She looks like she is acting poorly. So she may be fully committed to this character that she's created of abused Amber Heard, and however that looks in her mind. So she will ride that hysterics train to the end. That's a possibility. But she may also realize, they're not buying it. I'm going to have to try something else. And if she is as manipulative and clever as we have some reason to think she may be, then I think there's a good possibility she might actually acknowledge that feedback, realize that it's not working, and try something different. So that'll be something to look out for. We were promised a makeup demo. We were promised an opening with a compact that Amber Heard was going to show us how she mixed the different colors to apply them to her bruises at different stages of discoloration. She needs to cash that check for sure. That was a moment that they deliberately chose to use drama, use some theater with that specific compact to show the jury. And so if that just gets ignored now and dropped, the jury is going to notice that omission. So really going to be important to follow up on this makeup. But we saw the Amica cream really fall flat with Isaac. And so you do, I think, have to wonder if she is potentially just abandoning this attack. Made the point. I don't know. Great question is going to be, will Amber ever clarify? Will she ever correct her attorney and let the world know? Either tell us what the fuck Amica cream is, Amber, or just admit your attorney got it wrong and it's supposed to be arnica cream. Yeah. Put up or shut up on the Amica. I mean, it's we know it's not magical injury, broken nose healing cream anyway. But just for purposes of getting the record straight, let us know if Elaine was trying to say arnica cream and just messed that one up. I guess we'll see. Maybe she'll have an explanation of what Amica cream is. That has, like I said, some magical Wolverine healing type properties. So those are the things I'll be looking for as we go back into the trial Monday. Not gonna lie, guys, I'm excited, but it is gonna be early. We are in the final stretch here, and they're starting at 6 o'clock in the morning over on the West Coast here. So I am going to be getting some rest, and I'll be up bright and early, and we'll see you guys when we're back in the rapids.